I also changed my topic just because rating stuff on a scale of 1 to 10 is pretty boring, so I didn't want to bore you with this stuff. I instead kind of try to focus on kind of more computer science stuff. I know, nerdy kid, talk about computers, whatever. But I'm here to talk to you guys about how the education system has failed you on teaching you all the most useful skill of the current age, which is programming. A lot of you, how many of you are required to take a computer science class at Baylor? Okay, so like maybe 5. Okay, cool. I'm here to tell you that maybe in your own time, or if you have like a general elective, you should maybe consider learning programming. And just because it is one of the most useful skills of our age, our modern age. So this is something that you'd see in a middle school. This is called Hour of Code. If you've ever, I don't know if anyone's exposed to this yet, but this is an external organization that comes into middle schools and they teach kids how to think like a programmer. So, they have these moves and they would, step by step try and solve these problems. Now this is a pretty easy level. Here's a more complex one. And so they would bring these into elementary schools, middle schools, and maybe high schools to try and gauge interest in people. And so if you get through all of them, it's like, hey, maybe consider learning programming, and taking this in high school. And one interesting thing about this is that if you take computer science in high school, you're 6 times more likely to major in it in college. So when you are exposed to this stuff, a lot of the time they get a really good grasp on you and you decide to take it, because it is a really good career, pays well, a lot of jobs open, so it is, and it's growing still. So now I'm here to talk to you guys about you. You're obviously not high school kids. I'm not here to, give you an iPad and you Plants vs. Zombies puzzles, right? So I want to talk to you guys about, what you should do. You can obviously, if you have general elective, a lot of you guys are freshmen and sophomore, you can take a computer science class. Now that's, obviously attached to a grade, and they're not easy classes. So maybe a better route would be going on YouTube or online and using one of the many YouTube or online sources to learn these things and to gain knowledge of this, because it can benefit you. One way that it can benefit you is in your jobs that you'll have someday. There are going to be menial and repetitive tasks that you can automate with programming, and can save you hours, days, and weeks over the course of your entire career doing these things. Obviously, your bosses are going to take notice of this, and maybe you get a little bit more money. You get a raise because you're doing a good job. You get more advanced stuff, and that's kind of the whole point. My friend just got hired as a mechanical engineer. He asked for a higher starting salary, and he said, I know a programming language. The employer gave him $8,000 a year more before he even started, so that's pretty insane, just because he's not even a programmer. He's making more money just for knowing it, just because they valued the knowledge and the process that it takes. Now I'm going to end with one more thing, is ChatGPT. Now you've all heard of ChatGPT. If you haven't, it's a conversational AI that kind of takes what Google is, and instead of giving you links, it gives you answers. So I asked it a few questions. So I asked it, what makes Postit Notes stick, right? And you'd expect Google to give you like, oh, here's Postit Notes website. Here's maybe an answer or science on what kind of polymer they use. It just gives me an answer, right? It's super helpful, and it takes like the Google experience of researching out of it. Another one, is Bezos richer than that guy from ancient Egypt? Now, he's not from ancient Egypt, it turns out. I was wrong. But it still understood what I meant, which is Mansa Musa, who is the emperor of Mali. He's not from Egypt at all, but it still got and gave me a correct answer, which is pretty fun. And then also, I asked it to give me some code. I mean, I'm not using this code. I mean, I am using this code, but this is code that you can just copy it and you can use, right? So you can ask it to write your code for you. And so it kind of takes even the menial writing simple code out of it, and you can use your imagination to ask AI eventually to write code, and you're kind of the engineer of the code rather than the writer. You're not the author, you're the engineer. So I want to end with a quote from Moneyball. If you ever seen Moneyball, that's a good movie about baseball, general management. Adapt or die. Thank you.